Hello, my name is John Remington Johnson Mayo. Ignore John Wayne over there. I know he might be distracting, but my presentation is over Tesla Motors. I was originally slated to talk about Tesla Motors, the company, for the first 5 minutes of my presentation, and then move on to talking about Elon Musk for the other half. I've decided against that. I have enough material to talk about for 10 minutes regarding Tesla Motors, the company. I will speak about Elon Musk because he's a big part of Tesla. You've heard about Tesla, you've heard about Elon Musk. The two are synonymous. I was very surprised when I found out that, in fact, Elon Musk didn't found Tesla Motors. Two men by the name of Mark Terpening and Martin Eberhard actually founded Tesla Motors. The two had previously started a business together, selling what was essentially the first e-reader. That was back in 1997. They ended up selling that company in 2000 for $187 million. Whenever they sold the company, they knew they wanted to start another one. They just were unsure. Eberhard decided that he wanted to buy a sports car. So he went online, looked at all the different sports cars on the market. He didn't want to pay for something that only got 18 miles to the gallon. So being the techie guy that he was, he made a spreadsheet and he went through the list of every single two-seater sports car and figured out how efficient they were. He found out two things that day that really started to get him thinking about getting into the electric car business. First thing Eberhard discovered was that hydrogen fuel cells were just as inefficient as gas. The second was that electric cars were leagues beyond their competition in terms of efficiencies even back then. With that information, Eberhard started looking into electric car companies. What he found was a company called AC Propulsions based out of California. They had a car that was called the T0. The T0 was this small yellow handcrafted car that this company had made. They were a tech company, so they had a bunch of proprietary technology in it, including an induction motor. So what an induction motor does that's different from combustion motors is it allows you the ability to generate torque as soon as you press the pedal. So if you're going to speed up in your typical combustion engine car, what does your car do? It kind of stalls for a second and then kind of lurches forward. Now they've made it to where that isn't as bad as that sounds with the lurching, but it still does it. In these vehicles that use induction motors, that torque is just instant. Another thing that these induction motors have is regenerative braking. And so what that allows is the energy your car expends to slow itself down is actually put back into the battery. The induction motor actually made this a very efficient car. Eberhard decided he had to have a test drive. They didn't let him test drive it, but they let him ride in it. So he gets in the car and they're going, and it goes fine, and the guy slows down to about 10 miles per hour and he says, okay, now touch the dashboard. And as soon as Eberhard sticks out his hand to touch the dashboard, the guy just presses on the pedal, and this car goes 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. The G-force pushed Eberhard back and his hand never made it to the dashboard. At that moment, Eberhard felt vindicated. He said, this is what I want. This is where I want to go with my business. So he thinks about teaming up with AC Propulsions, thinks about working with them. He gets a feel for the company and decides that his ambition with where he wants to take electric cars isn't going to mesh well with the company's culture. After deciding he would start his own electric car company, he had to figure out why the automobile industry hadn't taken advantage of this opportunity. Well, they actually had, or at least tried to. General Motors had actually spent over $1 billion creating their car called the EV1. It stands for electric vehicle, the term still in play today. And almost all of them ended up being repossessed. they determined that it wasn't a viable product for their long-term business plan. Other than that, there was a bunch of news articles that were out saying that there was no way electric cars could really enter the market, that batteries haven't improved in the last century, which is true of lead-based batteries, lead-acid-based batteries. This is where Mark Terpening comes back into the picture. He knows that lithium-ion batteries, as opposed to the lead-acid batteries, actually improve at a rate of about 7% every year. So not only would their batteries improve, but they would also become cheaper over time. They would be entering a market where things actually got easier for them. This is the moment that both men knew for sure they were going to create an electric car company. The two founders secured partnerships with AC Propulsions to use their proprietary technology, and a British car manufacturer that had a car called the Lotus, which was a cheap sports car that they were able to use the frames for. With those partnerships secured, they sought out investor funding. They didn't really get much funding until they made an appointment and met with Elon Musk. He had co-founded PayPal, so he was pretty rich at the time, and he actually led the first round of investing with $7.5 million. They were originally going to sit down with him for a 30-minute meeting. He ended up keeping them there, questioning them, seeing where they think the company will go for over 2 hours. The $7.5 million investment bought Elon Musk the title of chairman of the board. So he was now chairman, and that was back in 2003. So by November of 2004, they actually had their first prototype called a Mule. It didn't have any of the body panels, but it was put together, and they took it for a test drive, and it ran, it took off, no wheels fell off, so they called it a success, and they secured some more funding, which again was led by Elon Musk. They were able to secure $13 million that time. 2 years later, in 2006, a documentary came out titled What Killed the Electric Car? And Tesla took that as the perfect opportunity to hire a PR firm and throw this big event. They tried to get as many celebrities and bigwigs as they could to go, and they had two Tesla prototypes there, which had their body panels this time and everything, and they took everyone at the party for a test ride, and everyone was impressed. The media failed to really recognize Elon Musk for his contribution, and this didn't really sit well with him. He probably had this face on. The event was viewed as a huge success. Media outlets were reporting their success. They had over 100 pre-orders in less than 2 weeks afterwards. Elon Musk actually wrote his master plan part 1 that year. And it was a plan that he outlined that stated that they wanted to create a low-volume car, 2,500 units for the Roadster, which would necessarily be expensive to enter the market. Use the money they gained from selling that car to develop a medium-volume car, which is their Model S, at a lower price, which is it's about $70,000, $66,000 to $70,000. Use the money from that car to create an affordable, high-volume car. So they've started to do that a little bit more with their Model X, which is actually an SUV. But then it'll be fully achieved whenever they release their Model 3 next year. The fourth part of that master plan is to provide solar power. So that was actually written up in 2006. Elon Musk ended up being the CEO of Tesla before the Tesla Roadster was released in 2008. They did get it finished. It wasn't quite on time. It was a little late, but that has now kind of become Tesla's MO, and it's to be expected now. Since the Tesla Roadster was the first highway-capable, fully electric car, it was viewed as a as an overwhelming success. It did have its issues, and it's a good thing they only had the 2,500 units to sell. Tesla then created the Model S, which has actually currently sold over 100,000 units to date. And it has more of the design you've come to expect from the Tesla design team. After that, they created the Model X, which is an SUV, and it has the coolest doors ever. And this is it in a parking space, showing that your doors won't hit other cars. That was released last year in 2015. With the release of the Model 3 next year, Tesla will have basically completed Elon Musk's master plan part 1. So what is the future for Tesla? Well, Elon Musk actually came out with a master plan part 2 released earlier this year. And he basically outlines that they're going to focus on their autopilot technology, which is hardwired into any cars that they produce, even now. And they're going to use it in their vehicles currently, even though there have been some news articles about crashes that have happened because of it. Elon Musk sticks to the fact that that he believes that even though they're still working some things out with it, and it's a program that actually learns and adapts, it is still safer than human drivers. It will revolutionize traffic and transportation. Tesla plans on producing one pickup truck, redesigning public buses and doing a bus and a semi truck for transportation. Those 3 vehicles will be the only other electric vehicles that Tesla makes. Besides that, they plan on focusing on their merger with Solar City. They have come out with the solar roof. If you haven't heard about this, it is amazing. They managed to make the solar roofs look like just regular roofs. I'll zoom in and show you. This is their Tuscan glass. So these are all made of glass, right? Okay, so this is their Tuscan glass. This is their slate, which does not even look like glass. And then you have these 2 other options also. So very cool. It's more durable than any other solar glass out there, and it's well designed. It looks like any other roof. He actually had a meeting where he called all the media to come to the set of Desperate Housewives, and he told them that he's revealing his new solar roof, and everyone's out there waiting. He even made them wait a little extra just to see if they would be able to spot the roofs, but nobody had any clue, and when he unveiled it, everyone went crazy. So very cool what they're doing. They also have the Tesla Powerwall. So you need somewhere to go with the energy that your roof stores. And so what they did was they created the Tesla Powerwall. This is 3 of them grouped together. They look all sleek, and they store. Here's a little diagram of how they work. Although those solar roofs aren't as good looking as the Tesla solar roofs are.